Have you ever judged someone too quickly, only to learn you were completely wrong? This is the story of a first-class flight where a stranger's harsh words targeted a quiet hero until the truth turned everything upside down. It's a tale of kindness, humility, and second chances that'll warm your heart. Welcome to Frosted Stories, where we share tales that remind us of the good in the world. Buckle up and let's take off. It was a sunny morning in Los Angeles, and Keanu Reeves was at LAX preparing to board a flight to New York. Known for his blockbuster movies and quiet generosity, Keanu preferred to keep a low profile. Dressed in a simple hoodie, jeans, and a baseball cap, he blended into the crowd, just another traveler with a backpack. But not everyone saw him that way. In the first-class lounge, Keanu sat quietly, engrossed in a worn copy of a philosophy book. Across the room, Richard Grayson, a wealthy real estate mogul, sipped a drink and eyed Keanu with disdain. Richard was used to flaunting his status: designer suit, gold watch, and a loud voice that demanded attention. To him, Keanu looked out of place, like he didn't belong among the elite. As boarding began, Keanu waited patiently, letting families and elderly passengers go first. Richard, however, shoved his way through, muttering about delays. When he saw Keanu board the first-class cabin, he scoffed. "What's this guy doing here?" he whispered to his assistant, loud enough for others to hear. Keanu, unfazed, took his seat by the window, headphones on, lost in his thoughts. The flight took off smoothly, but Richard's mood didn't. Seated across the aisle from Keanu, he launched into a tirade about the airline service, the food, and eventually his fellow passengers. "Look at this guy," he said, gesturing at Keanu. "Bet he won a free upgrade or something. Doesn't even look like he can afford this seat." A few passengers shifted uncomfortably, but Keanu kept his eyes on the clouds outside. Richard wasn't done. Feeling bold, he leaned toward Keanu and said, "Hey buddy, what's your deal? You sneak into first class or what?" The cabin went quiet. A young flight attendant, Mia, froze, unsure how to intervene. Keanu lowered his headphones, meeting Richard's gaze with calm eyes. "Just heading to New York," he said softly. Richard laughed. "Yeah, right. Save it for Coach next time." Keanu didn't take the bait. He smiled faintly and put his headphones back on, but the insult hung in the air. Sarah, a 16-year-old traveling with her mom Claire, was seated a row behind. She'd recognized Keanu from his movies and was appalled by Richard's rudeness. "Why's that guy being so mean?" she whispered to her mom. Claire sighed. "Some people think money makes them better than everyone else." As the flight continued, Keanu's true character started to shine. Mrs. Lopez, an elderly woman seated nearby, struggled to reach her bag in the overhead bin. Before Mia could assist, Keanu was there, gently lifting the bag and chatting with Mrs. Lopez to ease her nerves. "You remind me of my son," she said, smiling. Keanu laughed. "I'll take that as a compliment." Sarah watched, her admiration growing. Richard, however, wasn't impressed. "Look at this guy playing the hero," he sneered to his assistant, probably fishing for attention, but his words were starting to grate on others. Mia, the flight attendant, overheard and felt a pang of frustration. She'd seen Keanu's kindness firsthand. Earlier, he tipped her generously and thanked her by name. She wished she could say something, but protocol kept her quiet. About halfway through the flight, the plane hit unexpected turbulence. The captain's voice came over the intercom, urging passengers to stay seated. Most handled it fine, but Sarah, already anxious from a previous bad flight, started to panic. Her breathing quickened, and Claire tried to calm her. Richard rolled his eyes, muttering, "Great, now a kid's freaking out." But Keanu noticed. Keanu unbuckled his seatbelt carefully as the turbulence eased and knelt beside Sarah. "Hey, I'm Keanu," he said gently. "Flying can be scary, huh? Want to hear a story?" Sarah nodded, eyes wide. Keanu told her about a time he was nervous filming a movie stunt, but got through it by focusing on something happy, like his dog. His calm voice and humor eased Sarah's fear, and soon she was smiling. Claire mouthed a thank you to Keanu, tears in her eyes. Mrs. Lopez chimed in, telling Sarah, "This man's an angel." Other passengers nodded, some recognizing Keanu now but respecting his privacy. Richard, however, was unimpressed. "What's with the fan club?" he muttered. But the mood in the cabin was shifting. Keanu's kindness was impossible to ignore. The truth came out unexpectedly. As Mia served drinks, she whispered to a fellow flight attendant, "Can you believe that's Keanu Reeves? He's so humble." Her voice carried just enough for Richard to overhear. His jaw dropped. "Keanu Reeves?" he said, loud enough for the cabin to hear. Heads turned, Mia blushed, realizing her mistake, but the cat was out of the bag. Richard's smug demeanor crumbled. He stared at Keanu, who was back in his seat reading quietly. Sarah, now calm, piped up. "He's the guy from The Matrix, and he helped me." Mrs. Lopez added, "He's been kind to everyone on this flight." Another passenger chimed in. "I read he gave his stunt team motorcycles." The cabin buzzed with stories of Keanu's generosity, donating to charities, helping strangers, living modestly despite his fame. Richard's face turned red. He cleared his throat and leaned toward Keanu. "Sorry about earlier, man. Didn't know who you were." Keanu looked up, his expression kind but firm. "It's not about who I am," he said. "It's about how we treat each other." The words hit Richard like a ton of bricks. The cabin fell silent, absorbing the simple wisdom. Sarah grinned, whispering to her mom, "That was awesome." As the plane landed in New York, passengers lined up to thank Keanu. Mrs. Lopez hugged him, Sarah gave him a high five, and Mia slipped him a note that said, "You're our hero." Keanu smiled, deflecting the praise. Richard lingered at the back, watching. For the first time, he felt small, not because of his wealth, but because of his actions. As Keanu left, Richard nodded to him, a silent promise to do better. Days later, Keanu was spotted in a New York park, quietly handing a sandwich to a homeless man, no cameras in sight. It was just another day for him, living the kindness he preached. Back in his office, Richard started small, donating to a local charity, inspired by the man he'd misjudged. And Sarah? She wrote a school essay about her new hero titled "The Kindest Man on the Plane." This wasn't just a story about a celebrity on a flight. It was a reminder that true greatness lies in how we treat others, no matter who they are. Keanu's humility turned a moment of judgment into a lesson for us all. Kindness is the real first-class ticket. In a world quick to criticize, let's be the ones who lift each other up, one small act at a time. Thanks for flying with us, friends. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs a smile, and subscribe to Frosted Stories for more tales of kindness and courage. Have you ever witnessed an act of kindness that changed your perspective? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. Until next time, stay kind, stay humble, and keep shining.